Hi everyone, and welcome to Property Investing Insider. I'm Matt Lewison, and I'm here with Michael Bozza-Beresford.
Hello.
You're doing Director of Investment Services at OpenCorp. And we've turned the tables today. I'm asking Boz the questions. It feels a bit weird, doesn't it?
You go very well. That's why I'm laughing.
It's like sitting in the passenger seat when you're used to driving, right? Now, the question we've been asked is, how can you invest in the residential property market if you don't have a deposit? This is coming up more and more. In fact, the door's swinging at the moment with so many people coming through who are looking to become rent investors because they've been renting, they love living where they live at the moment, but they're paying a fortune in rent. They're seeing it going up year after year, and they want to make sure that they're getting some of that on the other side as a landlord. But not everybody has the deposit or the support. So for somebody who's wanting to get into that property market, who's currently renting perhaps, but they don't yet have a deposit, how can they take advantage of the property market to help them to grow their wealth so that they're not left behind?
Yeah, awesome. Well, I guess there are a couple of key ways for the rent investors. And I mean, we both rent invested. It can make a lot of sense in terms of having the best of both worlds, living where you want to live and owning investment property and have exposure to the property market. The first way is, and we hear a lot about the bank of mum and dad. There's increasingly stories out there. I think there was one just a couple of weeks ago, like the average amount that mum and dad are contributing is in the ballpark of 30K. So it can either be what we call an equity gift. So if your parents own their own home and there's substantial equity in that property, and provided they can service however much they want to lend you, let's call it 100K as a round number, for a deposit, then that equity gift is one solution. Another solution is that they go guarantor on the loan. So effectively what they're guaranteeing is your ability to repay the mortgage. So they're two different scenarios that you can consider. For people that aren't in that situation or don't have access to funds of that magnitude, the other option, which we get super excited about at OpenCorp, and we actually have just got an appointment booked in earlier today for later this week with someone who invested in our Resi Fund. Now, Resi Fund is a residential property investment fund. Think of it like managed funds with shares, where a fund manager invests in a range of companies. It's exactly the same, where OpenCorp are the fund manager, but we're investing in a range of residential properties Australia-wide. We have a set strategy, like we do with our investment, that we help our investment advisory that we help our clients with, to fit a specific purpose, and effectively we get a capital growth increase in the unit value, and we get a quarterly distribution as an investor. I say we because I'm an investor and my kids are investors. That's effectively how it works. So if you're in that ballpark of say 10K to 50K, you've got some cash savings and you want to get exposure to the property market, not be left behind by missing the boat on the returns, but not have the ability to buy an actual property in full, then you can invest your money in units in Resi Fund. We target a 10% per annum return over the life of the investment. It's much better than bank interest, obviously. That might be something for you to consider as well.
And you touched on the fact that you had an appointment recently with one of the Resi Fund clients who's now looking to buy their investment property. Can you tell us how that works?
Yeah. So there was an initial investment amount that was made nearly 3 years ago now, on the back of the returns that Resi Fund has made. That initial investment, plus the reinvestment of the dividends on a quarterly basis to get compounding, is what this client did, and they've now got their deposit to a point where they can afford the deposit on an investment property, and we're looking to help them get into that first investment, get exposure to the property market with an actual investment. Rental income and tax benefits will mean that the property is virtually paying for itself.
It's really exciting, isn't it? And
yeah.
That was one of the things that obviously my dad taught me very early on, was that you can't outsave the market. Yeah. When the housing market booms and prices go up, it can go up a lot faster. So the longer it takes you to get into the market, the bigger the deposit becomes that you're chasing, that you're actually saving more and more, and you're playing catch up with the market. So the sooner you can get into the market, the sooner you can start benefiting from that growth. And I think right now, renters are seeing firsthand what happens when there's a housing shortage, right? They're acutely aware of the fact that there's an undersupply of housing in Australia. We're seeing rents going up. We're seeing competition for rentals at Open for inspections, and it's getting harder and harder to get into properties while we've got this massive population growth. So it's only going to get worse, right? So all of these things that we've talked about that are really geared around helping somebody to get the benefit of the housing market and not be left behind. In fact, I think we're the only company in Australia that actually has a specialist fund as a property advisor, a specialist fund to help investors to get in with as little as $10,000. And we've obviously seen that taken up big time in the last couple of years, and I think it's more important now than ever because that rental growth that we've seen in the last 12 months is making it harder for people to save. So. Is there anything else that you'd like to share that might help to?
Yeah, look, probably just for the peace of mind that everyone's looking. I'm sure we'll link to the Resi Fund site somewhere below. Click on it and check it out. But really important to understand that Resi Fund has an Australian Financial Services license. We have an ASIC compliant PDS that has all the details about it. So it has all that regulatory support and scrutiny as any fund manager would. It's governed by very strict rules, and hence why we're kind of confident in the results that we provide.
Yeah, awesome. Now, I've really liked being in the driver's seat. I don't think I'll get to do it too often, so I'm sure I'll be back to you next time, but thank you. And I guess just as a finishing point with Resi Fund, who wouldn't want to own a share of a portfolio that's owned by a bunch of professional investors that are investing using the best systems and tools available to them, using their 30 years of experience in the market and allowing people to come along for the ride. So that's obviously one of the great advantages of getting into Resi Fund. But most importantly, if you're getting close to having that deposit and you're just thinking about how can you bridge that gap, what strategies could you use? Boz has obviously mentioned a couple, but if you want to talk those through and really explore how we can support you in bridging that gap and getting you into the market, then please reach out, subscribe or apply for one of our strategy sessions. There's very limited opportunities each week to apply for a strategy session. So if you can get into a slot there, then obviously you can get started sooner. So happy investing and thanks for joining in.
Well done, Matt.